So today I'm not alone, you guys. I have a special guest. He's an educator, a motivational speaker, an author, a former professional athlete. He is the founder of the Mile Academy, which is working to empower students and educators by the thousands. He wears so many hats. So I want you guys to welcome J.R. Rivera to the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. I actually came across your page on Instagram and I started watching all of your videos and I was like, man, he is like so inspiring. Like you inspire me to like do more.
Oh man, that's what it's all about, is just trying to put seeds out there and hopefully they grow, and God gives the increase on those.
Yes, you are doing so many amazing things. So many amazing things. So where are you from? Tell us where you're from.
So I'm originally from Fort Myers, Florida, and I currently reside in Miami, Florida.
Okay. All right. So tell us, what sparked your interest in teaching? Because I see that you were a math teacher, and what sparked your interest? Why teaching?
Well, first of all, I hate school. I always tell students that when I first come in, I hate school. So when I was in school, the teachers were very boring, and I never had like any real interesting teachers, especially at the high school level. Mm-hmm. And when I had the opportunity to go up and kind of teach the class, like everybody was kind of intrigued. It was cool. So I was kind of teaching geometry. When I was taking geometry, I had a teacher that was, in like her first or second year of teaching. Mm-hmm. And she was left-handed. And when she would write, she would smear the board because she was sweating out of being nervous. And I had some other athletes in my class, and that was my only regular class because I was in all honors classes. Mm-hmm. And I just would be like, Miss, is it okay if I kind of show them how to do this? And not knowing that, years later, I wouldn't make it to the NFL, and, it was a pause in my football career, and I wanted to coach. Mm-hmm. So coaching doesn't make a lot of money at the high school level in Florida. They give you like a $3,000 stipend or a $2,500 stipend for coaching.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so in order to make money, you have to be an educator and a coach. So I really got into education because I wanted to still impact young lives with football. And that first year, I figured out that being in that classroom really cultivated my gift, which I didn't even really realize, that gift of speaking and being able to connect and motivate young people to achieve great things. And when I initially started teaching, it just became like second nature. Like I didn't go to school for education. I went to school for business management. I have a business management degree. Oh, cool. And then I took some graduate level courses for education once I was already teaching. But yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. It was really by chance.
Wow. Okay. I was horrible at math, first of all. I hated math. I didn't so much, not like school, but math was like so tough for me. So that's good though. Okay. So now I think the academy that you founded, the Mile Academy, where you're helping students, but you're also helping teachers too, right?
Yes, I am.
So yep.
What I'm doing is, the Mile Academy is still, in the works of getting off the ground. I've already got the foundation there. Creating a sports and pop culture infused way of delivering content for Algebra 1 and geometry, mm-hmm. so that students get more of an engagement that they can relate to and understand the lessons. That's just how I always taught. So I'm also helping educators prevent burnouts. So I'm traveling the country doing keynote speeches for educators to help them, navigate the stress levels, navigate, just some things that go on in the classroom. For instance, fighting against phones. There's a cool program that I partnered with called Pocket Points, where they actually give a reward for students not touching their phones in class. So it can literally monitor how much time a student spends on their phone during certain pockets of the day.
Oh,
okay. You can get out rewards. Yeah, so it's really cool. Teachers don't have to do much. They just sign up. All the students sign up, and then it starts monitoring the phone. So the kids can't go to sleep and like, oh, I just killed it for 8 hours. Like, it turns off because of the GPS location. it turns off when they leave the school campus. So that's pretty cool to try and help students see that, if you put your phone up, you can probably pay attention a little bit more. And a lot of things stem from the phone, where teachers are combating those things instead of being able to actually teach. And then just, teachers carry a lot on their plates, and they don't realize that they're taking so much work home. Like for myself, in the 9 years that I taught, I never took a paper home and graded it, ever. I never took anything home. So I don't know why I developed that, but maybe because at one point I was newly married. I was playing professional arena football. I was coaching and I was teaching all at the same time. Oh yeah, and I was taking graduate level courses.
Oh, so you were multitasking in a major way.
Yeah. So that's probably why I never took it home, because I couldn't take it home. And then, that's what made me write my book. So I'm an author as well. I wrote a book on time management. It's called What's Eating Up Your Time?
Yes.
And I've gotten it into a lot of schools and also into the hands of first generation graduates in the college sector. Just trying to help them navigate how to create a purpose-driven routine, how to own those first 15 minutes of your day, and how to steward your time. So, that's something that I'm really passionate about, is, maximizing the use of a day and the time that's in it, all the way down to the minute.
Yes, because first of all, the youth is very important, because as we know, they're very impressionable, and a lot of them get off course sometimes. So I think this, what you're doing definitely helps them, because I think part of that too, why they sometimes get off course, is because they get frustrated in the classrooms and things like that. So that's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you talked about your book, What's Eating Up Your Time. So tell us about that. Like, why did you write that book? What were you hoping to accomplish?
So, being in education, I noticed that a lot of kids struggle with, just manipulating their schedules, for the simple fact I would realize that kids would be commuting to and from school 20 minutes to get there and 20 minutes to get home, for a total of 40 minutes. And they hadn't studied, they hadn't looked over any notes, they hadn't done anything productive. So we all live the 24 hours a day, but the problem is we're not stewarding and being productive with the time that we should. So I just was really big on multitasking. I did that when I was in high school. Nobody showed me, it just came.
Mm-hmm.
I would be on the bus just studying. In the mornings, I studied on my way to school. On my way from school, if I had homework, I would try to get it finished on the bus if possible, because I had other stuff to do. I was chasing a Division I scholarship. I played college football. Like, I didn't have time to waste. A lot of kids come home and they still got homework to do. That was going to eat up my time, so to speak. So
right.
I was just trying to display how to be successful. I was a 4.13 GPA in high school, and just showing them that it was all off, stewarding my time and effort, and just, really being laser focused. So I put that book together mainly when I won the BET Most Inspiring Instagram in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting on a plane about to leave from LA and come back to Florida, and I was like, what's really going to change? If I would have had a book when I went there, you probably wouldn't be able to reach me on the phone right now, because the book would have gotten into everybody's hand, and I would have been able to speak about it on those stages. Now, I do know that the opportunities are setting themselves up, and it has been. But I could have gotten a lot of work done, a lot of legwork done back in 2015 with the book already. So I have started writing another book, which was like an autobiography of myself. And it's going to be entitled Blind Lessons, but I don't want to release that until I get to a certain stage of success.
Yeah.
So I just was like, people don't really want to read your story. They want to read the end of your story, like when you win.
Right.
Like nobody, it's cool to hear the story. Like,
but you need to know the in-between, because that's the problem now with, I think, a lot, with social media. We see the finished product, but we don't see what happened in the beginning, in the middle, and towards the end. We don't see that.
Yeah, and I mean, they'll even glorify your story once, you win. I look at The Rock, where he didn't make it in football. He ended up, with $7 in his pocket, and he went back, and that's when he started the wrestling business. And, he's got a production company that's called $7 Entertainment. And he talks about, sometimes what you want to work is the best thing in life that didn't work. So had he made it to the NFL, he wouldn't have made nearly as much money as he has now. You know, the guys that did make it during that time, he made more money than those guys in probably his first 2 films. So,
right.
You know, that's something that I look at in hindsight, is that, you know, a lot of things in my life that I wasn't able to accomplish, even though I put the effort and the grind and the time into, is probably the greatest thing in the end that it didn't work out. So, you know, just continuously pushing and persevering, and knowing that at that moment I was in education so deep that I needed to create something that would help students where I was. I always say, you know, do something for where you're at, and also do something for where you're going. So that's what I was doing.
Oh yeah, that's good. So when you were starting out in school, did you ever, because of the unique, you know, the lessons that you teach at the Model Academy to help students to reach them, did you feel like you had teachers that did that when you were in school? Did you have like those teachers that were reaching you?
I would say I had probably 2 teachers in my whole K through 12 experience that they did, you know, reach, you know, on the loving level. And one, Mr. McBride, it was just the fact that he had played college baseball, and he was a science teacher. Mm-hmm. And I really respected him because I knew he understood what it took to be a professional, so to speak. And he would get calls about going to play for a professional team, like during class. I remember him having to leave out, and, you know, he got to take this call because there's a minor league team calling him to play baseball. And I always thought that was cool. So he had my interest in that level. And then he took science kind of serious. And, you know, he showed us the simple stuff, but he also talked about life skills. And that's what I was really moved by, is the teachers that talked about the life skills. So there was some teachers that, you know, here and there they would, but nobody was consistently inspiring. Nobody was consistently engaging and connecting in a unique way. Like for myself, I brought social media into the classroom. I want to say I probably was the first teacher ever to use Snapchat in the classroom. So my students were allowed to Snapchat me doing the problem, so that when they go home, they have an example. Like I didn't just say, go home, do numbers 5 through 8. Like they got an example that they can look at when they get home, because they have it on their phone on Snapchat. And what happened was, when they were Snapchatting me, their friends would see it at other schools, and they would be like, hey, can you ask him to do this, and this problem? So that's where the Model Academy brand was born, is that I know that I can reach globally. Why would I just stick myself in one classroom and only teach, you know, 100 kids a year when I can reach 100,000 kids a year?
Right. Okay. So I have to ask, because during my last episode, I spoke about you and how I came across a video. Wasn't able to watch the video in its entirety, but you were posing a question to Steve Harvey about what would you say to like your younger self if you were confused about your gift, I guess, walking in your purpose. And then he was talking about how, you know, the kids need to understand, you know, they're not only good at, you know, playing sports and being rappers and singers. So how do you feel about that? Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Wholeheartedly, I agree that, you know, kids sell themselves short. What he was saying is that kids got to understand that there are more things out there that are considered gifts, and more things out there that you could be.
Right.
You know, you don't have to label yourself as only these few options, especially coming from the inner city. So the question actually got really deep, and it was a lot longer, but that's just the part that they caught with us. But he was just really breaking down that, you know, at first, many times your gift can be confused as a curse. For him, he used to get kicked out of school for his gift. Like, he was making people laugh, making jokes, being a clown in class. He was getting kicked out of class. He was getting in trouble at church. He was like, my mom slapping me upside my head in church because of this gift. I didn't know how to control it. And it turned out that that's the thing that catapulted him to being who he is as a megastar, and someone who will go down in history as probably one of the best, you know, TV personalities / comedians of all time. And he was getting in trouble for it in high school and middle school.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting, you know, that he said that, because I definitely agree with that as well. We definitely need to, you know, make sure that the kids explore, you know, other options. There's so many things that they could be and do. So yeah, okay. So now you also, it looks like you co-authored some financial literacy books as well. Now that's really important. I'm really I'm a lover of people just in general. I think everybody should have, should know about their financial, you know, should be literate when it comes to finances.
Yes. I'm a huge advocate for anybody that's trying to help young people understand how to navigate finances. So my best friend played in the NFL for 11 years, Philip Buchanan. And he was the one who first told me I needed to speak. He was the first one who showed me that, man, you could be an author, like the stories and the way that you put stuff. So we created 3 financial literacy books. One of the more prominent one was Jenny Meets Penny. And I'm also writing a financial literacy book myself, and it's going to have my kids in it. I have 2 kids, Kyrie and Azariah. I got a son that's 4, and my daughter's 2. So I want them to see themselves in the story. So we do story time, and we've been doing it with our kids, and it's been really productive. So now I'm just creating that, and I'm infusing sports in it. I think it's going to be a really good book for the young people and for parents to actually read at night with their kids and just, expand upon, what it looks like to have knowledge of what money is so early on that they can understand. So for me, I'm showing in that book, I can give you a little bit of it. I'm going to show that, a penny. So at first is my son as the main character and my daughter coming up to who's the dollar. Her name is Dolly. And she's telling them that, in a dollar, there are 100 pennies. So the penny is actually doing 100 push-ups. And she goes and she shows them the nickel. And the nickels are playing basketball because, there's 5-on-5. And then the score, is saying, 100 or whatever. So it's showing, how many nickels are in a dollar. Then it shows how many dimes are in a dollar. And they're playing baseball.
Oh, cool. So, okay.
Yeah, and then the quarter, there's 4 quarterbacks throwing the ball around, and the main character is learning about, the 4 quarters in a dollar. And that's pretty much the gist of it, just breaking it down and showing kids that it's easy to understand, the value of a dollar, in a fun way.
Yes, that sounds really good. So what's one quote that sticks in your mind that you live by?
It's an African proverb. It says, if you understand the beginning well, the end will not trouble you. Meaning that, oftentimes people want to think about what happened when it's too late instead of preparing for what's going to happen. So the more you can understand before you get started, the end won't trouble you. So a lot of people are troubled with school, for instance. They get in trouble in 9 through 12 because early on, K through 8, they didn't, master those skills, so to speak, of reading, writing, and that big boy math. So had they mastered those skills early on in the beginning, the end wouldn't trouble them. Graduating wouldn't be a problem. Getting a scholarship wouldn't be a problem. Going to college wouldn't be a problem had they understood the beginning well. So I'm real big on the beginning of things.
Yes, that's deep. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, so how do you deal with fame and all that comes with, and just continue to be who you really are? How do you keep from losing who you really are?
I think just staying grounded, understanding that the same way that you got it could all be gone. Being humble, tapping into my faith on a consistent basis. I'm starting to meditate. I'm starting to understand, the law of attraction, and just being able to be around, I go to schools and I'm speaking to these kids that, they're in shelters or, their father's in prison, understanding what people are going through. Yesterday, I had a unique opportunity that, they called me in to come and speak to this football team. They had just lost their first game and they got beat really bad. Mm-hmm. And I walked in and these young men were in the back and they were all eating, I don't know if you know about noodle cups, but yes. They were all eating noodle cups, and it brought back memories to myself. Like, I hated noodle cups growing up. I know hate is a strong word, and you heard me use it twice. I don't use it that much. But school and noodle cups, those are 2 things that I hated. So, it drove me, so to speak, that, I never wanted to come home and have to eat noodle cups. And, that's a different type of person showing up at school and showing up as an athlete and showing up as a person, so to speak, in the community. So I just try and always show up with my very best. I think the hardest part is the people that knew you before you started becoming who you're becoming.
Yes.
Is the whole butterfly effect, I like to call it. They remember you as a caterpillar and they trying to figure out how you flying, and they still down there crawling. And it's like, if you're willing to go through the same process, you can become who you need to become. People look at the finished product or the almost finished product, and they oftentimes can't understand how you got there, and they try to look for any type of dent in your armor, so to speak, and they want to bring you down. So I kind of keep those people at bay. There's certain people that, they obviously have that access to me still that I, try and limit. But, you're going to have people, and usually it's family. And I hate to say it, but
they can be the worst. They can be the worst.
But that is the worst, because a lot of other people's opinions won't matter to you. The only opinions that really bother you are the people that you care about, the people that you want to help, the people that you want to, succeed as well. But they just can't understand why you're doing well and why they not. And they get it confused with, there's not enough room for everybody to eat at the table.
Right. Because you definitely can't take everybody with you, that's for sure. You cannot take everyone with you. Yep. So what advice would you give to someone out there? Maybe they're young, maybe they're older, and they just have tried everything. They feel like they're confused about what they're supposed to be doing in life. They feel like giving up and quitting. Like, what would you say to them?
Man, the first thing is to write down a list of 15 to 20 things that you're truly grateful for. I'm a big believer in the spirit of gratitude and the attitude of gratitude. If you realize what you're grateful for, then you kind of pause the mind. I like to say that the body benefits from movement and the mind benefits from stillness. So to get still is to, breathe, work on your breathing, deep breaths, and really understanding, that you're alive. Like, this moment really matters. And just write down some things that you're grateful for. And then just finding something. My pastor actually preached about this past Sunday. He was saying, no matter how far you've slid down or how much you feel like things are not working for you, just get around some people that are positive, that care about you, and just do something positive. Not just do something, because a lot of people say just do anything. No, don't do anything. But go submerge yourself into something positive. Whether that's like going and helping at the local Little League team, or going and helping an elderly, couple that is having trouble mowing their yard. Like, there are things that you can do that some other people can't do. And it may be as simple as your strength. It may be as simple as your conversation. It may be as simple as your service. So steward those things, and then it'll open up the right doors for you. You just have to kind of be patient, and not be willing to succumb to your circumstances. A lot of people lock themselves in the house, and they just kind of don't want to go out. They don't want to do anything. Well, it's real hard to get out when you don't go out.
Right. Well, that is really inspiring. You are so inspiring. Definitely keep up what you're doing. I actually showed my son. I have 3 kids as well. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter. And I showed my son, my 16-year-old, some of your videos, and he really, really got inspired. And I think it's just amazing. You're impacting so many people in so many ways. And I thank you so much for coming on my show. I appreciate you for that.
Oh, it's been a unique honor and pleasure.
Yep. So tell the people where they can keep up with you.
You can keep up with me on social media. I'm always there on Instagram. You can find me at JR, another R, IVERA. It's just my name, JR Rivera. You can find me also on Twitter and Facebook. Same thing, JR Rivera. And then, pick up a copy of What's Eating Up Your Time.
That's right. Y'all heard him. Make sure y'all check him out. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for supporting me. If you need to get in contact with me, you know you can keep up with me on social media on Instagram at Linnea_blogs_her_way. You can also email me at unpackingtheboxpodcast@gmail.com. Be well.